Hey guys, I'm Daniel from Consider Tech. Today we're going to be talking about the public beta that has came out for iOS 15, iPadOS 15, and WatchOS 8. So this video is going to be mainly about public beta 2, which I have had for a week now, and then this week just came out with beta 3. I haven't noticed anything new on beta 3, so this is basically just about beta 2, except one thing is beta 3, there was definitely a performance increase, which I'm super happy about. Now, with beta 2, there was no battery decrease in any of my devices, which is nice. Maybe my iPhone just a little bit, but also with my iPhone, I think one of the things that contributed with a worse battery life was the fact that I have a little bit of a performance lag when opening tabs in Chrome or stuff like that on my iPhone 11. So that also probably had a decrease in battery life. So some things that I do not like. First off, iPadOS. So in messages, there is a new floating text screen. What I mean by text screen is when you're not using the on-screen keyboard, the suggestion menu comes down. It happened in iOS 14 and it always has. But in iOS 15, they added a new, it's basically like a floating version of that. It just kind of floats on top of the bar. It looks really, really good. But some apps like their own messaging app and Notion, it floats above things, which I see. For Notion, it means you can't see the edit bar or anything like that. And with messages, it kind of floats above, and it means you have like this big space gap, and it doesn't look very good. Now, I think Notion can easily fix this. It's an easy fix for them because they just get an update when the whole developer stuff ends. Now, with iMessages, I'm a little bit annoyed because it's something that you would think Apple would not release it until that was fixed. So I'm a little bit upset by that. It just looks funny. I don't really like it. Now, on to things that I don't like in iPadOS and iOS. One is notifications. I don't like the summary is basically the only thing I don't like. I mainly just don't like it because I don't like how it works. So at a specific time, it'll summarize all the apps that you pick to summarize. I love that. That is super cool. You know, at 6:30 in the morning or whenever I get up, I can have it summarize everything that happened during the night or in the early morning. But actually what it does is it picks those apps to only show you in the summary. So it only shows you, say at 6:30 I have a summary, it only shows that apps that I picked at 6:30, and it will never show the apps again. I really don't like that. Now it has like in the notification screen, it'll have like a summarized thing or whatever, and it'll come up there during all the parts of the day, but it won't actually come as a push notification. Now, if I'm doing something wrong, please tell me in the comments because I would love to fix this. I think it's a good idea. I just don't like the way that they executed it. Next is Safari. So the new Safari got revamped. It's okay. It's not great. Like I thought, I don't like it, especially on iOS and on iPadOS. There's not really that much extra stuff that I thought it would make me interested and want it to have it. It'd be different if I had a Mac because then I could have 3 devices that all have the same thing with this new redesigned Safari. But instead, I have a PC. So my iPad, my iPhone, and my PC all work with Chrome very, very well. And I've gotten used to the way that the bookmarks work on that and all that stuff. So that just makes me prefer Chrome. And they didn't do enough stuff on Safari for me to really switch to it over Chrome. Next is a separation alert. So the only reason why it's here is just it's a personal thing. So it's a little bit annoying to me. Every time I leave my iPad at home, my phone notifies me that I have left it. And I'm not one to forget things places, so I find it annoying. But for someone that does lose stuff or forgets stuff often, if this would be a great feature. So the only reason why it's here, it's a good thing that it's here, but just for me personally, I don't love it. AirPods, any AirPods feature really, like conversation boost, separation alert, and all that stuff, does not work on my beta. I don't know why, but I cannot get the update for AirPods, so I don't have any of that stuff to test out. So I don't have any opinions on it. The only thing that I do have is the announced notifications, which I really, really like. I can get Instagram DM notifications and all that stuff all through my AirPods when I have them in, and I really like that feature, and it's super useful for being on my bike or whatever, and I just have them in and I can hear all those notifications. It also works on weather and stuff like that, so again, another reason why I really like it. So on to things that I do like. Starting with iPadOS. I like widgets. Like I said in the release video of WWDC, this is something that we should have had for a while now, and we haven't, but that's okay. I like the new widgets. It is really useful on things like the Files app, that I can put a stack of them. So like I can have the smaller one or the bigger one, but I use the smaller one, the smaller one, so the medium one. The medium one I put on my home screen, and I have a stack of them. So one of them is the considered tech files, one of them is my recent files, one of them is school files, that kind of stuff. So I really like that because it means you don't have to go into the Files app, you just have to be on your home screen and swiping through the widgets just to see all of your files. I really like that. Now I'm putting this here because this is the only place that I noticed it, because I don't use it that often, but there's also a new redesigned widget app. Now, the only reason why I noticed it here is because I don't use Apple Weather app, my phone or my iPad. On my iPad though, I use it as the widget because it's just easier and it looks a little bit nicer than I use the weather channel, and I don't really like the widget on there. But I like the app a lot better. So I have that app on my phone, but I have the regular Apple widget on my iPad. And the widget is a lot more clean, it shows a lot more details, and I really like the new redesign. That looks good. Continuing on with Files. I don't know if the phone has this, but I mean, I don't think it's very important on the phone anyways, but we have progress bars in Files. So whenever you're transferring something from a USB drive or anything else, online, whatever, you can go into the Files app, and above in the corner, you can get a progress bar that shows up on the bottom of your screen, and it shows all of the files that are being transferred to whatever, it goes where to where, and it shows how much longer is going to be, and then how much space is left, like any, like a PC would, or all that stuff. They also added a whole new menu in PDFs in the Files app. It's got Pages on the left side that has 3-dot for a menu of stuff to do, like rotating the page, inserting a blank page, inserting files, scanning and inserting a document, or deleting that page. This is useful because you don't have to select multiple files and make a shortcut to merge PDFs anymore. You can just do it all inside of the one PDF that you want to merge everything with, and you can do it natively within the Files app. There's also a search button in the corner when you're in a PDF, instead of using books like you had to before. Next is multitasking. I absolutely love the new multitasking. The 3 dots are the best thing that they added. It is super useful. It's just great because you can do things from the home screen and you can clean up your taskbar. Now, having to do with multitasking, but on the Apple Mail app, you get 3 dots on the top of any composed, like new composed message, and it acts like a new window because you can even see it in the shelf. The shelf I talked about in WWDC, so go look at that video in the corner above, but basically it's just where all your instances go now. Now in this Mail app, a composed message goes on top of the Mail app, just kind of like slide over, except it's in the middle, and you can do whatever you want. You can put it in the middle. You can make it a whole new window. You can put it as slide over. You can put it as split screen. You can do whatever you want. It's 4 options in the dots. 4 options to do whatever you want with the composed message. I cannot wait until developers make their apps have this feature as well, because Gmail could use it really well and stuff like that. You can use keyboard shortcuts as a substitute for the 3 dots, which I think is nice because it means you don't have to take off your hands off the keyboard when you're doing typing or research or stuff like that. Basically, there's just shortcuts and that are native to every iPad app that you can just use as slide over or split screen. The new menu for the keyboard shortcuts is great as well. It's all categorized, and the globe key has a new menu, which gives you full system shortcuts. Like I said, multitasking, but it also gives you Siri and stuff like that. You can even open the app library from the shortcut globe key shift A. Now, if you're using a keyboard that does not have a globe key, from experience of my keyboard, which is a Keychron K2, it does not have a globe key, and it uses the FN key. I'm counting this as a multitasking because you can use it anytime, but Quick Notes is a super cool feature, and I love how useful it is because I don't use Notes, but I can still use Quick Notes and another app, because Quick Notes is a separate screen that you can look at. You can look at all your Quick Notes in that one screen when you swipe up, or you do globe key Q to open a Quick Note. You can look at all your Quick Notes by just swiping and swiping. You don't have to go into the Notes app to view all of your Quick Notes, which means I can use any Notes app I want and still use Quick Notes, because Quick Notes can go anywhere in the system, but my other Notes apps cannot. One feature that I also extremely like about multitasking is the way of in the app switcher, you can move anything into a split screen view. Now, I think that's useful when cleaning up and doing research or something like that, and you have all these things open. You can just put them all into split view and split view and split view, and do it all from there instead of opening it, going up into the dock, swiping over, putting it into split view, and then going back into the app switcher. You can just do it all from the app switcher. It just eliminates one step. I like the fact that with Quick Notes, you can also link websites and you can do app stuff. Only thing that's worked is websites right now. It even works with Chrome already, which I really like. But basically, when you are using a Quick Note, it'll suggest to add link. When you're in Chrome, you can add the link and it'll just automatically show up in the Quick Note. It's very useful. It was very useful actually in the making of this video. I could do research and all that, put it into the Quick Note, and link the website there, and then put it into the script when I was finished, all from the Quick Note. Now, WatchOS. Now, the only thing that I noticed in WatchOS 8 actually was that new messaging screen, which I really like, and it makes everything in the same screen, which is useful when doing when messaging people and stuff like that. You don't have to take forever. It's already a small enough screen. You don't want to keep going back into menus and stuff like that. So I think they did a really good job of that. The thing is that is the only thing that I noticed in WatchOS. So WatchOS 8 is a little bit boring this year. It didn't really have that much stuff. Last part is about iOS and iPadOS. Now this is focus modes. All of the focus modes are on the watch as well. Just to use to connect to your phone. Now, I really like these new modes. There is a little bit more than Do Not Disturb, and I like them best on the iPad. They're okay on the phone, but I have personally a little bit more use for it on the iPad because I can hide and show screens depending on the modes. So I can have categories, like I can have like a entertainment page, I can have a working page, I can have a school page, Now, every page I can turn off depending on what mode I'm in. So say I want a personal mode, I can make sure that the entertainment mode, or the entertainment page that I have made that has Netflix, YouTube, Disney Plus, that kind of stuff, all in that one page, can be first and center. And turn off a page that has, say, LumaFusion, Procreate, and that kind of stuff that I don't want there. The other cool part, speaking of Procreate, is you can have two apps on two pages. So I can have Procreate on my entertainment page and my working page, and I can just turn it off in my working page. So then it still shows up on my entertainment page, but my whole working page is gone. Then when I enable work mode, my work page is there, my entertainment page is gone, but I still have Procreate. Procreate still has not left my pages. Now that's useful for, like I said, working, entertainment, and doing things like that. I still haven't gotten used to taking the time of hitting the focus mode. I still haven't gotten into the habit of that, but when I do, it is a very good mode to do, and I'm glad that Apple has put it in here. I said before, when making the WWDC video, that it was kind of like Android, and I don't think it is. It is its own thing, and I think it's way better on Apple than it is on Android. Next is notifications. Now, noticed on beta 3 actually was the clear and the options buttons are separated. They're not together like they were on previous OSs, which I think looks a lot cleaner because then it's bubble as the notification, bubble as the clear, and bubble as the options. I think it looks a lot cleaner than just having two bubbles that has two different buttons on the one bubble. And that seems like a very big thing that Apple is doing with their OS, is just kind of rounding off things, stuff like that. This is a good example of that. I have mixed feelings about this one, so I'm going to put it here because I do like it. It's just something that I need to get used to. And it is the new notifications. First, the logo is big. It is a nice design change, but it's not that big of a deal. But it does show, like in messages, it shows the icon for the person, and then, but not the messages icon. It shows the message of the person, which I do like. That looks really good. Definitely something that needs to happen is Instagram needs to put this in their DMs and stuff like that. But we'll get there, and that's okay. The part that I really don't love is that the size of the notifications, they're a little bit too small. It's again something that I need to get used to. I've already gotten used to it a week later, but this is just something that I noticed right away. They look a little bit too small. Another thing that I do really like about it though is it doesn't show any information that I don't want. It just shows the title of whatever and the icon. That's all it really shows. It doesn't show, when you're in an email, it doesn't show any part about the email afterwards. It just shows the title of the email, the Gmail app name, and icon. That's all it shows. It's super clean, it's super nice. It also still reminds me of Android, which I don't really care about. I think it's just funny that Apple has done something similar to Android. Live text. Live text is really useful because it shows up everywhere. PDFs, pictures, any documents really that have a text on it. To do with this feature being added, I find myself using Photos search feature, and I do really like that. It means I can search for speakers, and it shows a screenshot of what it shows the screenshot that I took of speakers that I want on my wish list, because I use screenshots a lot. I take screenshots of pretty much anything that I don't want to necessarily bookmark, but I just want for later. So I search for it, and it's way easier than just looking through my camera roll. It's also useful when using PDF or using pictures or stuff like that, especially when we come up to school again. It's going to be really useful because I can just take a picture of, say, the board, and I can copy that text into a notes app. and it go from the writing on the board to text instead of me typing it all out. Good for quick little things instead of, like I used to do, to take a screenshot and split screen and then type it out. This just saves an extra step. There's also, what I've noticed, is a new finger cursor thing. So I know that's not really a good way of describing it, but basically I have big fingers, so what used to happen is when you tap on the screen and hold, you can move the cursor around. But you didn't really know where, I didn't really know where it was because my fingers are a little bit big. Now, especially on iPhone. On iPad it was fine, but on iPhone I noticed it. Now, there's a little magnifying glass that shows where the cursor is, and it just, it's honestly a very subtle thing, but it's something that you notice day-to-day use when editing text or whatever on your phone. On the iPad, it wasn't that big of a deal because you already have a big screen, or you can just use a keyboard and mouse also. But on iPhone, I found it very useful. On to FaceTime. So, screenplay stuff works really well. I only really FaceTime myself because I don't know anybody that has iOS 15, so I couldn't test it out with anybody, but I basically I FaceTimed my iPad to my phone, and it was super useful, and I actually, the share play stuff is pretty cool. It all worked pretty seamlessly, and it just felt like Zoom, but native on FaceTime. And I think it's going to be useful for things like talking to your parents or grandparents or whatever and teaching them how to do something. My grandparents ask me that all the time. Oh, how do I do this or whatever? This is a good way of showing them just by screen sharing or just by mirroring your full screen. Another thing that I tried out was the link. So I used Chrome to test this out, but you can basically FaceTime anybody on any web browser just by copying the link from an Apple device. That is a really cool feature, and I thought it was really good. The only thing that you cannot do is SharePlay. Now, the difference is if you have the Apple device, you can do stuff like sharing your screen and stuff like that, and the Android person or the person on the web browser can view it, but they can't share their screen. That is the only limitation that I had found. Also, the interface on the web was actually pretty good. The important things like end, mute the mic, turn off video are all on the main screen. You don't have to go into any menus. But then there is 3 dots that you can click that goes into a menu. And basically, that's how you can show what camera to use, what mic to use, stuff like that. Which I think is really cool that you can choose which mic to use or which camera to use. That feels very similar to like it does on Zoom or Google Meets or stuff like that. One of the last things that I noticed was the shared with you. Now, it's not that I didn't notice it, it's just that I don't use it that often because with my friends and all that stuff, we just use Instagram or stuff like that. So the photos that I get from them don't really come to there anyways. The only people that I use messages with is family. So I do have family photos that are in the shared with you that I get, but that's the only use that I've had for it, and just being, I guess, middle of summer now, almost end of summer already, but just being kind of the summer now, I'm starting to kind of use it, but I don't find it that useful. Now, speaking of which, the sharing photos in the Messages app is really cool, and you can just swipe through the photos of whatever. If you have multiple photos, you can just swipe through them and it's all right there. I think that is a perfect way of enabling photos just to be quick and easy instead of tapping it and doing stuff like that. You can just, it's a good way of viewing the photos in the Messages app. Okay, so these are all things that I noticed in my day-to-day use. I don't use many Apple apps, so if I'm missing something, please let me know. in the comments below to tell me what I have missed, and maybe I can do a video on it in beta 4, 5, or however many betas are going to be. Like I said, this is what I use in my day-to-day use. These are what I noticed. So personally, I think this is what you guys would notice as well. So I just used the ones that were basically upped my productivity, not just thought were cool. But thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.